I actually wanted to call this video Why the Met Gala Red Carpet, but then they went beige, or as some appropriately called it, Coldgate Triple Action. Hello, and welcome to The Professional. In the past decade, the Met Gala has entered the cultural zeitgeist as the most important event in the fashion calendar. So I'm guessing that anyone watching this understands very well that it is a fundraising event for the Costume Institute of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, hosted since 1948. Initially, it was attended by the High Society of New York, who are the usual suspects attending these sorts of events and donating to worthy causes, like the staging of an annual fashion exhibition. It was under Diana Vreeland, the famed Vogue editor, absolute legend, inventor of the term faction, that the event started transforming. She was the first one to attract celebrity attendance and the first one to introduce themes. But really it is the marketing genius of Anna Wintour that makes the Met Gala what it is today. And genius she is, because it's actually been one of the highest grossing fundraising events in New York in recent years. And of course, more celebrities means more eyes, more buzz, more headlines, and more donor money. But you probably know all that already. What makes the Met Gala different than any other fundraising event is the fact that it is centered around fashion and around this idea of a theme. Watching this year's arguably bland offering, I kind of started thinking about the idea of inspiration, about taking a theme and somehow transforming it to make it something new, something special, recognizable as your own. It made me think of my time at the Antwerp Fashion Academy. In the second year, you start by creating a historical costume, and in the third year, you make an ethnic costume that serves as the basis of the first collections you produce as a designer, and it is the perfect illustration of this process. How do you take that and translate it into your own style, into your own vision, without that becoming costuming, without it becoming cultural appropriation or just a direct copy? By having a theme, the designers that make the guest list are invited to frame their creativity in a shared context. The challenge is to stand out while conforming, to transform and transcend the preset topic by making it unmistakably theirs, to showcase the power of their unique, lauded style by cannily applying it to a blueprint not of their choosing. Doing this successfully is a demonstration of skill, creativity, and most valuable of all in today's industry, a monetizable signature. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, think of a little black dress. Now imagine one designed by Rick Owens, or picture one by Vivienne Westwood. Now imagine one by Thierry Mugler, Jill Sander, now one by Chanel. Each one is distinctive, specific, and immediately recognizable. And that is what I believe that Met Gala attendees should be striving for. And that goes both for the designers and the celebrities wearing their pieces. It is a high flyer masterclass in style and brand identity. And it is extra difficult when the theme is a specific designer with an already established aesthetic. And I felt like this is perfectly illustrated by some of the most successful looks of the night. I'm far from the idea of wanting to judge every single look. One, because I've never wanted to be a fashion critic, but two, because I've actually worked on Met Gala looks and I know how much time and thought and work go into those. So I really don't want to be dissing anyone, even if I feel like their efforts may have failed this time around. But instead I wanted to focus on those looks which I felt were most successful with fusing the idea of a theme as inspiration with the personal style of the designer to create a beautiful final product. I think it's interesting that most of my favorite looks of the night are either by Tom Brown or Daniel Roseberry at Schiaparelli, who started his career at Tom Brown. And perhaps that makes sense because they're both fairly conceptual designers. So in a way, they can take a theme and really transform it into something unexpected and weave it into their own vision. I think my favorite look was actually Anne Hathaway's. She wore a Versace dress, and Donatella Versace described this as a conversation between Karl Lagerfeld Chanel and Versace. She said it was a kind of tribute to their time in the 90s, to that shared experience. And if you think about 90s fashion, the Versace woman and the Chanel woman probably could not have been more different. The Versace woman is very overtly sexy, very empowered through her sex appeal, whereas Chanel is the epitome of class. So I thought it was a stroke of genius taking one of the most iconic Versace creations, that uber sexy safety pin dress that Liz Hurley wore, and combining it with the very demure white tweed, the camellias and the pearls. I had to do a double take and wonder, wait, is this an actual House of Chanel dress? Did they do something with big safety pins? Because everyone else seemed to be wearing just Chanel archive. And I think that that's the best reaction you could get when you have a theme. Here is just a brilliant fusion of these two very, very different worlds. And I think it transcends both the Chanel brand and the Versace brand. It transforms how you see both. And this is why it is so successful. I will say that, in my humble opinion, I wish Anne Hathaway's hair looked more coiffed, but there was a lot of messy hair and a lot of floppy hairdos this time around. Don't know if that's Chanel inspired, but it was weird. I don't know, choices were made. My other favorite look of the night was that encrusted, bejeweled Michaela Cole Schiaparelli dress. I mean, she was co-hosting the night, so of course she deserves to be this sparkling idol, center of attention. But this dress was so beautiful, and of course you could say that sheer dresses are so over, but this was done in such a spectacular way, and again made me do a double take and wonder, wait, is this a recreation of some archival piece from like the 80s or early 90s, or is this actually a Schiaparelli look? Because weirdly it was immediately recognizable as one as well. And I think what it did so brilliantly is that while it was truly absolutely Daniel Roseberry Schiaparelli, it seemed to feed from that rich Karl Lagerfeld history. I almost wondered if some of the jewelry pieces were direct recreations of jewels that we've seen in Karl Lagerfeld looks, and maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but it felt like it, so in that sense it did its job. In the other Schiaparelli look of the night was the big get. It was the Kim K. And I love this as well because, kind of like the Versace look that took maybe the designer's personal history, this one seemed to feed on the wearer's personal history. You could easily tell that the look recalled probably Kim Kardashian's first original claim to fame when she posed for Playboy, covered in rows and rows of pearl necklaces. And so Daniel Roseberry chose this Chanel staple that ties beautifully into the history, the personal history of his wearer, and then exaggerated to the max, as would be his signature for Schiaparelli, where everything is blown out of proportion, it is exaggerated, it is surreal. So you've got way too many pearl necklaces for Coco Chanel's liking, perhaps. The only thing that bothered me when I first saw it was this midsection, and I saw Mina Lee also comment on it, saying how it looked like skims, like basic shapewear, but actually when you looked at the video you could see that it's silk, and maybe it was just getting washed out in photos. There's actually a beautiful video that Schiaparelli posted on their Instagram where you can watch that stunning bolero that was then transformed into a cape being draped by the incredibly skilled tailor, and at the end of it you see a shot of like one of the inspiration boards, and there is a picture of Kim with a different corset that looks really, really stunning, and I almost wish they had kept that. But I did think this look was really successful. And then looking at Tom Brown's cohort, and a cohort it is, oh my god, the only thing I could think of looking at how many people were attending the Met Gala representing Tom Brown is that a ticket to the Met Gala used to cost $30,000. Now, reportedly this year, this was raised to $50,000. Even if they got a discount for getting a whole table, you've got a cool $500,000 at least standing there. They've got one hell of a marketing budget. Either that or it's been blown to bits. All spent on the Met Gala and nothing else. But from all these people attending with Tom Brown, for Tom Brown, I absolutely loved Bella Ramsey. Bella was in a tailored suit, very signature for Tom Brown, but what was so special about it is that there was a pinstripe pattern created with pearls. So this, again, signature trompe-l'oeil, adopting one of the Karl Lagerfeld Chanel signatures, beautifully made. Again, something that takes it far, far away from costuming. I also loved Michelle Yeoh's outfit. I believe she was wearing Karl Lagerfeld. For some reason it was really hard to confirm that, because every article that spoke about her Met Gala look mentioned her last year green Prabhu Gurung, and none of them actually spoke about the designer of this piece. But regardless, I thought it was very smart how it combined the perhaps overdone black and white code of the night, but at the same time those billowy sleeves recalled her heritage and all those movie roles that made her famous worldwide. I have to say I really appreciated anyone that brought a bit of color to this monochromatic affair, and so I really liked Eva Chen's look actually. She wore Fendi, and obviously Fendi is very closely associated with Karl Lagerfeld, who designed for the house for decades. At first it kind of looks like this craquelé leather effect almost, you know, when you have a coating and there's a color showing up from underneath. But when you zoom in you realize that all these minty cracks are actually ruffles, which is an element that Lagerfeld played with a lot, and the silver surface is actually sequenced, so the workmanship of this whole outfit is very haute couture, very high fashion, because it's probably all done by hand, and it fuses the idea of traditional craft with something that at first glance could look almost, I guess, futuristic. Fendi actually also showed up with a heap of people, and I have to say that Delfina de Lettres Fendi's outfit was also very cool. I'm imagining that this is all hand embroidered, and it's probably one of the more interesting ways of integrating Karl Lagerfeld's signature look into an outfit, and again throwing it back to this idea of traditional skills, traditional craftsmanship, traditional haute couture embroidery. Another colorful treat I thought was Chloe Feynman's outfit. It's a simple affair and it used a lot of elements that others were employing on the carpet. But if you think of who she is, she's an actor known from Saturday Night Live, which is this New York institution, and her cocktail-length dress, the Manolo Blahnik heels, and especially the Judith Lieberman crystal-encrusted purse representing Choupette, which is of course Karl Lagerfeld's cat, all spoke to me of the New York high society set, the ladies who lunch. Initially it was attended by the high society of New York, who are the usual suspects attending these sorts of events, so I kind of thought it was very clever. But of course, the greater purpose of the Met Gala is giving us genius, meme-worthy snaps like this one. I think this sums it up. For me, these are the looks that brought something interesting and stylistically meaningful to the carpet. Tell me below what you thought were the looks that were most successful at sparking a conversation between two strong creative identities. So you might be able to tell that this is a new channel. In this video, the white balance is probably playing up anyway, so that's a very good tell. But if you want to support it, I don't need to tell you that you can like, subscribe, ring the bell, and all those easy and familiar actions that help others discover the content and grow the community. Now keep up the good work, and goodbye. Why this whole idea of the Met Gala theme